Hey guys, Project Reaps here, bringing you the Guerilla Gargantuan build speed variant. This is the build I've been using in Season 5 for both pushing solo, grouping together as the damage source, as well as speed farming Torment 10. So as you can see here, it's fast. It's as fast as Locust Walker or Manajuma's or any of the other builds. The items you're going to need are pretty easy to obtain. And it's easy to tweak. So if you're lacking certain items and you need to up your defense or you need to up your offense, it's not hard to do that with this build, as there's only a couple items that you need. So just a little bit of footage here to show you, just how fast it goes. This actually is, this is 49 right now. So the first video is 45. That's about, actually that's T10, yeah. And then 49, I'm actually a little over T10 right here. Just doing some leveling for enhancing gear. So I do have some pretty primo gear in this video, but I have been using this gear or using this build since the start of the season. So now that that's done, let's jump right into it. First, I've got skills I want to show you guys. So what we're using here is based around sacrifice. Using the homunculus that spawns them every 2 seconds. And the reason we're doing that is for this rune right here that increases the damage 20% for 5 seconds. You're going to be able to pump out so many sacrifices that you will have 4 to 5 stacks of this, increasing your Gargantuan's damage for 80 to 100% skill damage all the time. Because of this, we're not going to be stacking skill damage from other things such as Pierce the Veil or Teguk. Not that you could use Teguk anyway, as you can see we don't really have a mana spender. But that's the idea, is basically we're just buffing our Gargantuans as much as possible. And then you've got Piranado. This is your grouping spell. I'll kind of show this to you in practice in just a moment, but basically you're going to want to watch your Gargantuans. Whatever they engage, you drop your Piranhas on that. It's going to pull all the enemies near it into those Gargantuan's AoE. And then let me just jump straight to Gargantuans. Most of you are going to be familiar with this. This is very core right now. Their splash damage is constant. So, they hit one target and they hit everything around it for that same amount of damage. So as you use that tornado and you pull everything in, you're going to hit, 20, 30, 40 enemies for as hard as you would hit one enemy. And so it's a really powerful combo with them having that constant boost. Then Severance on the Spirit Walk is pretty common as well. This is a lot of move speed that this is going to add. Doubles your move speed, and this right here is what allows you to keep up with Manajuma, as well as what's in the cube, which I'll go over in just a moment. Then a couple other things just to buff speed. I use Soul to Waste. That 5% move speed with 5 stacks is a 25% move speed boost. Then if you have the Sacred Harvester, which I'll get to in a minute, but that'll boost it to 10, so that's a 50% move speed boost, and that is huge. And that's going to help you a ton with getting through these as fast as possible. Now, this is a variable slot. You don't need the Summon Dogs, since that's happening automatically. But I'm using this rune because it's an increased 15% damage from all sources, but this is a total variable slot. You guys use whatever you want there. I was actually using a spam haunt build at one point and trying to guck out. I wasn't feeling it. So passives, this is also pretty optional. It's nice to have the extra dog. When you've got the 5 dogs instead of the 4 dogs, you can keep your stacks up really well. I mean, you can just run around the place and you just throw dogs everywhere. And then with this map, you're going to be able to resummon them if you ever run out. And you never have to stop blowing up dogs, so you never lose your boost to your Gargantuans. It's awesome. Then we've got Gruesome Feast. I use this because I kill the things so fast they're going to drop health globes. Those health globes are going to boost my damage a lot. A 50% increase to your intel. Your intel being your biggest multiplier on damage, it's a huge gain. Straight up move speed, unquestionable. This build right now, this is the speed variant, and it's all about how fast you can move and how fast you can kill. And so this right here is giving you that move. And then the other 3 are pretty much just giving you that extra damage for kill. This, you're going to run up, you're going to close that distance, you're going to get up on the elites. Doing that is going to cause your gargantuans to teleport on you, and things will die real fast, as you saw at the video in the beginning. Let me just pull this back up. So if you guys want to take a look at that, that's just a quick rundown of what you need. These skills are needed, and passives that are needed. Oh, I forgot to mention on my gear, which I'll get to now, there is one other passive that you will need. You will need to have this Grave Injustice that I have on my Hellfire. This is going to lower the cooldown on your gargantuans, so when they're being stupid and not engaging what you need them to, you can resummon them. And with how fast and effective you and your pets are going to kill, this will cool down between every elite pack or every other elite pack. So you'll be able to just, using that passive, it's going to cool down all your skills. By the way, guys, if you're not familiar with that passive, I'll show it to you here what it does. Every time you get a kill within your pickup radius, every time you get a kill within 20 yards plus your pickup radius, it's going to lower all your cooldowns by a second, lowering your defensive, your offensive, and your crowd control, as well as your summons. And so since you're blowing these up, you're going to be running out of these all the time. Well, not all the time, they're resummoning all the time as well. Don't need to blow them up while you're running, just while you're encountering elite packs. I'll get to all the mechanics in just a second. So yeah, and then let's jump back to the gear, and we'll pull that on the screen for you guys. Whoops. Alright, so here's what's required. You need a short man finger. The 3 gargantuans, the whole build is based around gargantuan damage and buffing those gargantuans around the fact that you're going to have 3 of them that deal an insane amount of damage. This is what allows you to murder everything. Homunculus is going to be also clutch to making this build functional. You're going to be throwing and detonating a lot of dogs, so to get those dogs coming back constantly, you need this homunculus, which will summon a zombie dog automatically every 2 seconds. And then the short man finger, if you are not familiar, as I mentioned before, it summons 3 gargantuans that are more powerful. So you're buffing this spell, you're going to triple its damage because you have 3 instances of it, and they all splash. It's just crazy, the synergy. So then in Geom is also what I have in the cube here, and this is what fuels the speed. In this patch, they lowered the cooldown on Spirit Walk. What? It's only 10. I thought it was 12 seconds. I'm not sure why it's reading 10 seconds. That seems wrong to me, but regardless, even 10 to 12 seconds, you're looking at a 2-second cooldown within Geom up. So, you know, while you're speed running, while you're focusing those elites to get those death breaths, to get the rift completed, because they drop those completion globes, you're going to get the kill, that's going to proc the in Geom, and then you're just going to spam your Spirit Walk and zip between packs. Zoop, 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 zoop. And I mean, that's exactly how Locust Walker works. There's really no difference there. In fact, in this season with the lower of that cooldown, I don't really see any reason to use Manajuma for farming. Manajuma is great for bounties, since you're actually probably not going to want to stop and kill every elite pack. That'll actually slow you down long run, and Manajuma you can just keep running full speed all the time. But all in all, I don't see a reason to switch to a Manajuma build when you can just change a couple things about your core build to make it farmable. So other core items. Oh, I didn't put this on my list. That's a mistake. You probably don't need that. It's probably helpful items, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Mask of Joram, you know, pretty common. Increases your pet damage by a lot, so that's gonna help your gargantuans, and any dogs that are alive, it's gonna make them deal a bit more damage as well. This is a pretty clutch item right now for pretty much every build. The meta game for everything, a 50% damage reduction is huge. So if at all possible, if you can make your build not super resource cost reliant, this is an amazing thing. And since sacrificing dogs costs dogs and not mana, the only thing on your bar you're going to use mana for is Piranado. And then the next item we'll talk about here, the hexing pants. You're going to be keeping on the move all the time since you're doing a running speed build. You only stop momentarily to throw a dog. You can't really see that because of this. See how you're just going to stop momentarily to throw a dog, but you just keep moving. Just keep moving. And that's going to allow you to keep this buff up and also regen the lost mana. Also, if you're running the Gruesome Feast, you will never ever drop this Akia's boost because you're going to get the extra mana from those globes, and it's just insane. Other required slot, you need... Oh, yeah, silly me. So you're going to need some damage if you want to run this in T10. You can obviously use this build in Torment 5 or Torment 7, but you definitely are going to need some damage. So I'm using Litany of the Undaunted and rocking a bunch of Ancients. Obviously that's a late game strategy. You're going to need a lot of Ancients for that to work, but this will be totally viable with Helltooth. Again, Sacrifice is mapped, but it's really not a primary source of damage. It's more of a utility to make your Gargantuans hit like crazy. And so, you know, if you don't have suitable Ancients to make this build work with Lawn, then you can definitely rock... Oh, this is really unorganized. Sorry, guys. You can rock Helltooth, getting the 800% damage, 900% damage to your Gargantuans and Zombie Dogs. So then, this is an optional. Adding those extra stacks is going to help in a number of ways. It's going to make it so you move faster because you're going to have 10 stacks from Soul Harvest, as I mentioned earlier. You've got Lacumba Ornament in your, in your cube, and that is going to add up to 60% damage reduction rather than just 30 from the 5 stacks. So it's going to double your damage reduction from this slot right here, and that's a lot of damage reduction. So between this, and the Lacumba, you're going to have 110% damage reduction. Then if you've got Lawn, you've got that extra 4 times 13% damage reduction, and if you're using Helltooth, then you've got that 50% damage reduction. So it's pretty good, pretty good. And then let me jump back to my reference sheet here. Nemesis Bracers make everything faster. They're going to spawn elites, which is going to proc your Ingeom. That Ingeom is going to then help you move faster, make your Tornado cooldown faster so that you can pull your enemies onto the Gargantuans. It's also going to make your Gargantuans summon faster. We just talked about that. Avarice Band, you won't be able to map this if you're using my current build with Lawn. You've already got your 2 rings, and then your 3rd ring here. So you're not going to be able to pull that off. But if you're using the Helltooth, you can definitely wear an Avarice Band, and then while comboed with this Boon of the Hoarder, you're going to get a kill, it's going to drop gold, you're going to pick that gold up, it's going to extend your radius. Extending your radius is then going to make you pick up more globes for Feast. It's going to also increase your range of attack, or not attack, your radius of Grave Injustice, so you get even more procs from that. Also, if you're having, I mentioned earlier, it's easy to tweak, so you know, if you're not having trouble killing, but you're dying a lot, you can always switch one of these 3 damage options for like Swampland Attunement, and Avarice Band will combo really well with that since this also is affected by your pickup radius. Jungle Fortitude's also an option you could use. Spirit Vessel is always good if you're in the higher difficulties and you're getting one shot, you can use that. Most of the things are going to stay targeted on your dogs, and another nice thing about Sacrifice is since a new dog's popping up every couple seconds, even if, okay, I'll get to that in a minute because I don't want to go into battle yet. But real quick, just watch my damage on this. So I'm moving, so the damage goes up from the Hexing Pants, and then as I start blowing dogs up, 6K, or excuse me, 6 million. That's with no Soul Harvest buffs, that's with no Gruesome Feast buffs. I can get that up to 10 million. 10 million damage before elite damage, you know, before it's even counting how much the Gargantuans do. They hit for billions. They hit for billions. It's crazy. So they'll definitely kill everything you need them to kill, and Geom will keep you moving as fast as you need to move. Let's see, what else? Boon of the Hoarder is for move speed as well as for the gold farm. When you pick up that gold, it's going to make you move faster. That's what the Boon of the Hoarder does at level 2. I wish you could see where I'm pointing. 30% move speed from picking up gold. Then we've got the Wreath of Lightning, which is also going to provide 25% move speed. This is not here for a source of damage. Yes, I'm aware that witch doctors do not use lightning. I don't care. I want to move fast. It's all about the speed when you're doing T10. You know, once you're doing solo 75 rifts, Torment 10 becomes easy, and so you can sacrifice a lot of your normal gear to get things like move speed, magic find, which is another thing I meant to mention. If you're not having defensive problems, you know, if you're grift 60 viable and you're farming T10, I would always recommend switching magic find into your helmet. A lot of people will tell you it's not worth it. It's totally worth it. Try it, you know, give it 2 hours of farming. It's worth it. This is definitely worth mentioning. It kind of sucks to have to do the bounties to do this. I believe it's like Act 1 and Act 3 or 4 bounties, mats that it requires. But this 7 pickup secondary, there's not a better option for this build or most builds for witch doctors because of how their passives are boosted by pickup radius. This is unquestionable. So, you know, if you don't have the ability to make that yet, I would recommend just running bounties. Bounties are the fastest way to get your blacksmith crafting, my brain stopped, plans. And these are shoulders. They're in S. I can spell. By the way, I want to go on a quick rant. Diablo 3 people, if any of you ever watch this, why do you have these subfolders not minimized? If I were to open my folders in Windows and all of them were already open and I could see all my files right at the beginning, no one would use it because it's stupid. That's a bad design. These should all be closed. Then I'll go to shoulders. I open shoulders because that's what I want to build. Does that make sense? Of course it does. It's common sense. Alright, rant over. Corruption right here, it takes Act 1 and Act 4 mats. Alright, and then Tasker is going to help you deal a lot more damage. You're going to basically deal, you know, 150% of your normal damage because your main damage dealer, those gargantuans, are going to attack 50% faster. This slot, you can really do whatever. You do not need to buff sacrifice damage. In fact, what I would recommend are boots like this, except with armor. Kind of like a splice between these two. As a witch doctor, you don't really need resist all anywhere on your gear because you have lots of resistances from your intel, and then when you boost your intel here, those are going to go up more. So if you just do a quick comparison, you got 85% resistance from your resist all, but only 68 from my armor. And I've stacked armor, I mean, everywhere that I can manage to fit it. So armor is key for us witch doctors and you wizards out there as well. Ice climbers are my goal. I want ice climbers to stop myself from being immobilized and frozen. That's going to allow a nice synergy with these hexing pants so that I don't ever have to stop moving. I won't lose 25% damage every time I'm frozen. So that's what I'm looking for, but you know, any ancient, if you're using lawn, or Helltooth boots if you're using Helltooth. Did I talk about every slot? Belts are also variable. I use the Witching Hour because your pets get damage from attack speed. They get the damage from crit hit damage. This is just a huge boost to my gargantuans, which is the whole goal here. Belts. You could definitely use this. In fact, I did for a while. I'll talk about this a little bit in the next video, but there's a pushing group synergy that you can use that for. Insatiable belt is also a great option or this, I would be wearing this string of ears right now if I had an ancient, but the game doesn't want to give me one yet. So, string of ears is another good option. Also, for pants, you don't need the hexing pants. These actually, I'll show you real quick, these go to skill damage. Darn it, as does when you blow up your dogs. So, you're gonna have 100 skill damage, and these are gonna boost it by 25. They do help, but not as much as you may think. So if you wanted to use Pox Faults, there is no problem with that at all. However, hexing pants definitely would be best in slot there. Strong arms are fine. You know, Nems just help with what we talked about before, getting that Ingeom procced. So I think that's all there is to the gear and a good idea of how it's all working. So let's just quickly jump into a rift and show you how it functions. Just want to keep running until you find some elites. I have plenty of damage reduction. Nothing here is going to kill me. And then... okay, those elites are dead, so now my Ingeom's up. I want my death breaths, and then we'll just keep going. Ingeom. As you can see, that cooldown, it's just bananas. And I killed those elites quite quickly because the damage is also bananas. Anyway, I don't see a reason to make you guys watch all this. I wanted to keep this video as short as possible. So, as you can see, you know, it dominates. It'll kill everything, and as long as you have Ingeom, Spirit Walk is fast enough for... Spirit Walk will match the speed of Manajuma with an Ingeom in your cube or in your hand. It will easily. It just has to do with finding the elites. So, you know, during those times where there are no elites, a Manajuma wielder is definitely going to outpace you. There's just nothing you can do about it. But, see, I just do no damage without my pets, but then my Gargs show up, bam. But a lot of you Witch Doctors will already be used to that. The Garg style of play is pretty common right now. And then, yeah, I'll get into more of the mechanics of how to use the build in the next video, since it's more important for the harder difficulties. For the most part, you can just kind of run around and slay things with this, and you should have a really easy time with it. So, if I missed anything, you know, if you have any questions, this is actually my first build video. It's totally possible I missed something, or if you have any criticisms about things I said, or how I'm portraying them, or if I'm not looking at the camera enough, yada yada, I'm happy to hear any criticisms any of you guys have. I appreciate the subscribes. If you like it, the video or the build, you know, please share. If you have people in like a Witch Doctor or even a Diablo 3 community that you think would find this interesting, I will be doing some other Diablo series. I'm going to be making some other builds. I'm actually going to make a series about how to make any lawn build T10 viable, and then also how to find out if that build is capable of pushing into higher grifts. I'll be doing builds, or not builds, but stuff about what to look for group synergy, for support synergy, that sort of thing. So, thanks again. Also, one other quick thing is in the description. Man, I am just scatterbrained today. Did you see how fast that guy died? It was awesome. It's just awesome. T10, guys. Alright, so if you liked, subscribe, like. In the description, you can find me on Twitter. I will be streaming I'm going to try and do that nightly, but at least for right now, I just don't have enough subscribers that I'm actually going to keep focusing on putting out some YouTube videos for you guys. But please follow me on Twitter, and you'll see when I am streaming. And, you know, I'm here to help. So if you guys have any questions about the build, if you have any questions about Witch Doctors in general, I've been playing them since the beta, and I'm happy to help. Yeah, so I think that's it.